Hi, I'm Trin Johnson, and welcome to Dust in My Eye. Today I'm going to be working in alcohol ink. You can see here that I have a bunch of examples of tins I have painted on, filled with various things. And what I'm going to try and do today is just use 3 colors and try and keep the materials pretty simple so that I'm able to do this. So you just need Kilz 2, which is the acrylic version of Kilz, the non-oil based, and you need some ink. So let's get started. Today we're going to be painting on this little tin, but before I start, I need to give it a couple coats of Kilz 2. It just makes a much better surface to try and paint on. You can sand between coats, or I'm just going to sand before I paint on it. This is a can of Kilz 2. This is what we're looking for. It's important that it's 2 because that's the water-based version. But I'm just going to use a little short brush here, and I'm just going to give it a coat. It's not real important that it's perfect. I'm just trying to get a relatively solid coat there. And now we're going to let that dry. I'm probably going to give it a boost here with the hairdryer. Okay, I'm going to give it another coat. It's dry to the touch. This time I'm going to go in the opposite direction. Again, it isn't really important how perfect this surface looks. I'm just trying to get something to paint on. Oh, there's a little fuzzle though. I'd rather not have that. There we go. Now, when this dries, and I'm going to let it dry longer so that it kind of cures a little bit before I paint on it, and just wait for it to dry naturally to the touch. You can give it a boost with the hairdryer, but then I would still wait a little bit. But before I paint on it, I am going to sand it with, I've got 1500 grit sandpaper, and I'm just going to sand it just like in this direction, just a little bit, just to smooth it out. I'm not going to do that on camera because it's noisy, and I have to wait for this to dry first. So let me get the one that I already have done, and there we go. And I'm going to use 3 different colors of ink. I have Amethyst by Ranger. I have Moss by Ranger inks. And I have Honeycomb by Ranger. I have a small container of alcohol, paper towel ready to go here, and a selection of brushes. And I have a makeup sponge. I like to use these little things to do backgrounds, and I'm just going to cut a chunk off right now because I don't want it this big for this project because it's not that big. So now let me just zoom in here, and so you can really see what's going on. The last thing I need to do is, I need my little Petri dish to put the ink in, and I am going to put on a glove to save my hand. I don't always do it, but when I do it, I'm very grateful that I did it because my hand stays a lot cleaner. So I'm going to start with the moss, And I'm just going to drop it on the back here. And take my little sponge and just spread it around. I like to do this method because if I make a mistake and something gets really messed up and I can adjust the background better when it's not a flat background. When it is a variegated background, it just makes it easier to correct. I have a little bit of pink in my green. Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to put a little amethyst in my little petri dish. And I'm going to pick up my little bitty brush here. This is a Micro Mini Creative Mark 20/0. And this is going to be really fast and really simple. And I am just going to lay down some dots, blobs, for lack of a better term. You can think of them as violets, possibly, if you need to identify it as a particular flower. Anybody can do this. Don't need to have any special tools. Okay, now I'm going to add a little bit of alcohol to my mix here. That will make it paler, just like in watercolor when you add water and the color is a little paler. And I'm going to just do some more dots. Just for some variation. I think it makes it more interesting. Okay. I'm trying to not contaminate my alcohol as much as possible by just quickly dipping my brush in and then wiping it on paper towel. That helps it stay. Now I'm going to get out my honeycomb, and I'm going to put a little bit of that in the petri dish. And my brush is nice and clean now, so I'm going to just get a little dip of that. And I'm just dropping it in the centers. Don't have to hit every flower. I can hear my neighbor out there scraping their driveway. We had an ice storm last night. It's very pretty, but damaging. We weren't hit too bad, though. Okay, same thing I did before. I'm going to add some water to it so alcohol to it, so it's muted a little bit. Color's not quite as intense, and hit some of the background. Oh, there wasn't even a thing there. That's okay though, because in the end we're going to do some splattering, so it won't matter. Okay, now same thing, going to dip and wipe. Now I'm going to put the moss into the Petri dish and get a little bit of that. First, I'm going to use it full strength and just come in here and get some variation in the background, more than I had. Little, like, think of them as leaves between the flowers peeking out. And it can be over top of the flowers too, because sometimes there's leaves growing out. We're just trying to get some interest. I'm going to add alcohol to that so it's paler, and do this some more. Okay, now I am going to take another paintbrush, and I'm going to use the yellow I have and do some spattering. There, I'm like, where is it? Okay, now dip and rinse. Use a little of the amethyst, but I'm going to add a little bit more to my pile here because I don't have hardly any left. I'm just trying to get the spots that didn't have any flowers on them a little bit, mostly, and a little bit on the other areas. There we go. So that's all we're going to do for that. I am going to take the tin and give it a couple coats of Kamar and a couple coats of UV spray and a couple coats of Minwax, the Polycrylic spray, and that gives it a nice finish. You can see how this has a nice sheen to it, and it's a nice protective coating. So that we're going to do that. I'm going to do that before I use this. But now let's get into the surprise inside. This will be fun. I'm going to back you up a little bit so you can see a little bit more. Take my glove off. Let's take the tape off. Always a fun part. Now these little boxes are metal, so magnets will stick to them. And I have a little paint set in here. And all the little bottoms have a little magnet on them, so they stick in the box. And these are full of alcohol inks. So I can take my inks with me and do a little painting on the go. I have a little color chart here that I have done on a piece of Yupo, and I've sprayed it so it's nice and safe. Won't get messed up. And I can use the top part for mixing. And I'm going to keep it all in this cute little pencil case that I got at, I don't know if I got it at Dollarama or the dollar store. I can't remember if this was in Canada or at home. But what I'm keeping in my cute little case is a few things. I have made this little book out of a little pad of Yupo paper. This is the medium weight. You could do any weight you want. That come in these little pads, and I punched it and used my little thing to put together a book. My paper punch. You could use just a regular paper punch too, and you just need one of these little pieces of the coil, which you could probably get off an old notebook if you don't have any. This little piece of plastic, and you could go and paint while you're waiting for a table, or while you're waiting for your food, or you're waiting for your friend to show up at a cafe, whatever. You could paint en plein air and paint something you see sitting around you. These were just things, just little flowers out of my head. The nice thing about Yupo is you could paint on both sides because it's alcohol ink doesn't bleed through. You probably should spray them though, either when you're all done with the book or as you go, because that will keep them protected. But anyway, it's a cute little book. So I've got the little book, I've got the little paints, I have this little tub that I have inside of it a little container of alcohol. Just to be doubly sure it doesn't leak, although I don't think it leaks, I put it in here. And I have my little makeup sponges. I have some paper towel that I cut into smaller pieces. I have a couple of little droppers. These ones are supposedly single use, but I reuse them for this purpose. It doesn't have to, it doesn't matter. They are really, really skinny at the end, so I get a really nice, fine little drop. And they're not pokey like something with a needle at the end that you could use. That would be really fine. I have some alcohol swabs to wipe my hands up. And I have these little finger cots that kind of do what the gloves do, only in a more minimalized fashion. And all this can all fit in this little container. Oops, I want to put you in here. And I thought, you know, I take my watercolors, I take my pastels, I take my gouache, I take my markers, I do plein air with just about everything, but not with alcohol inks. And now I can. So I hope you find this interesting and fun, and I hope you try it yourself because it was really, really simple. One more thing I want to do is I like to sign my name. So I'm going to just put my name in the corner. And thanks for watching. You can find prints of my artwork along with my cute little monsters for sale on my Etsy shop. Keep an eye out for a shop update. I'll be adding these cute little tins soon. And if you would hit that like button, I would love it. If you hit the subscribe button, that's even better. And if you hit that cute little bell, it'll tell you when I upload a new video. All that really, really helps me grow my channel, and I really super appreciate it. So until next time, thanks for watching.